Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. This video will be really special for professionals who have just started their Power BI journey. And today we'll be creating our very first sales dashboard for a beverage company. So if you haven't installed Power BI yet, let me tell you how to install it. So basically you have two options to install it. You can either go to Microsoft Store and write in Power BI Desktop. Yeah, so I've already installed it. You could just get this app from Microsoft Store, or what you could also do is you could also go to the Microsoft official website and download Power BI Desktop. Yeah, so it will give you this option and you select everything and download. Okay, so we are good to go now. Let's see what our data set consists of and let's start building our dashboard. So let's begin with our data set. Let's see what we are dealing with today and what does it look like. Okay, so this is the beverage data set. I've already opened it in Excel. We can see a number of columns here, such as retailer IDs, and the date columns and state columns, and then the brand, unit, price, and the unit sold. All right, I think this is a good amount of data to begin with. So why don't we go to Power BI now? Okay, so this is the welcome screen which we get when we open Power BI. You could also sign in into your account, into your organizational account as well. And so we get a number of options to import data from. So for example, if I click on get data here, I can see a number of options where I can select anything I want, and it provides you a lot of databases to connect with, and then also you could connect to Azure services. For now, I'll keep it simple and I'll select one Excel workbook, and this is it. Open. All right, so this is a navigator which we get when we first import our data. We click on data, and this is basically a preview which we are getting right now. This is, I think it shows us up to 200 rows of a data set. So you now have two options: either load this data set directly into your Power BI, or you could also transform this data. For now, I would like to transform this data and do some data cleaning and make some other changes. So let's begin with data transformation. Okay, so now we have opened our Power Query editor, and let's check and see, if we could do any transformations here. So this is our data set. So first, just let me introduce you to the Power Query editor. This is the query pane. These are the applied steps. We can see that Power BI has automatically applied some steps over here. They have promoted headers and yeah, changed some data types as well, I think. So this is the formula bar here, and this consists of M language. So basically M language is a case sensitive functional language, which is basically a mashup language. And what it does is it collects all the data transformation steps which you have applied and makes them into a code. So yeah, this is pretty useful. Okay, so we can see that we have a few columns here. I would also like to tell you that if you have a column, for example, in the first row, you have your column names. So what you could do is you could go to transform and you could use first row as headers. So as you can see, my first row has been converted to my column names, but in my step, we have already promoted headers. So we'll cancel this step and cancel this step again. All right. Yeah, perfect. Also, I would like to tell you that you could get a better view of your data in the view option available. And you have three options to choose from: column quality, distribution, and profile. We click on column quality here, and it basically tells you how much valid is your data, if there are any errors. Basically, when you apply a calculated column, so you might get some errors on some rows, and if it's empty or not. Then we go to column distribution. It particularly tells us whether what types of values are distinct and what types of values are unique. For example, if I just go to price per unit, it gives me a suggestion that do you want to remove duplicates. But for this I want to keep duplicates because some objects might have the same price. So yeah, and then you also can go to column profile. Column profile basically tells you the value distribution and all the statistics for your values in a particular column. All right, so we'll unselect this and then we'll go to add column. I would like to add one column. I don't see month name here. I think it will be really useful for us. So why don't I go ahead and select date and then date column, and then name of month. Okay, so as you can see, my month name has been generated and my M language also has been updated because I have applied this step. All right, perfect. Now also I might add one conditional column. I want you to know about this feature as well. So I also want to have the size of the uh, order. So what I could do is I could select unit sold, and then is less than. If the units sold is less than 5,000, then the size is small. All right. If unit sold is less than 8,000, then the output is medium. All right. And if unit sold is greater than or equal to 8,000, I'll put it as large. Yeah, and then else it's unclassified. All right. Yeah, I'll press on OK here. Okay, so particularly we are getting the size now. As you can see, a lot of orders are large, but I can also see medium orders, 7,000. So we set up a parameter as 8,000 and below as medium. All right, and now quickly I'll change the data type of this to text. Yeah, perfect. I think we are good to go now, at least for now. And we'll go to the home tab again and close and apply this transformation. So basically, now that we have loaded our data, I want to give you an overview of Power BI. And so you have three views in Power BI. This is a report view, as you can see here. This is where you create your own visualizations and make your own dashboards. And this is a table view where you can see your data. And then this is the model view. For example, we are using just one data set here. If we had multiple data sets, then we would have been making some relationships between them, but for now we are keeping it really simple. So yeah, so I'll just quickly go to the table view, and I see that we have price per unit and the units sold. So why don't we go for the revenue generated? All right, so what I'll do is I'll basically add a new column here as well. I'll type in revenue, and yeah, I'll put in the column name, which is units sold, and into price per unit. All right, I'll click on enter. Okay, so I've got the revenue for each and every order, and as you can see, this is the symbol for a calculated column. All right, also I might want to switch this to fixed decimal number. Yes, and also I would put it as currency. Okay, perfect. So now we have revenue for every row which we want. All right, now let's just quickly go into the report view and let's start building. Okay guys, so I think we have applied every transformation to our data which we required, and let's get some dashboard building. So we are in a report view here, and I would like to see a visual where I can see revenue generated for every month. All right, so maybe I'll use a line chart for this, and select revenue from here and the month name. All right, okay, we can see this is good. Also, I would like to format this visual. I'll go to the x-axis and maybe remove the title for this. We can see that we already know January, February, March are month names. Also, I might increase the size of this a bit. And the color, I would choose this. I think, yeah, it looks good to me. All right, we go to y-axis and then we remove the title here as well. The values will mark it as bold. Maybe increase size a bit. And yeah, I think this is much better looking. Grid lines I would like to turn off. And yeah, general, let me change the title of this visual as revenue by month. And if I go to end over here, yeah, I think this looks good, bold, and make the background color a bit nicer, make it center aligned as well. Yeah, I think this is good. This is good enough, right? So we have made a very first visual here, guys. And for now, I think I would also like to see a distribution of the retailer and the units sold, that how many units are being sold by a specific retailer. So I might use a donut chart for this. And also a pro tip here, guys, that if you want to copy your formatting, you could select one visual, you could go to this format painter and apply this. All right, so when I select my retailer and I think the unit sold, right? So yeah, so you can see that I have got a pretty similar visual with respect to the one I made earlier. Yeah, so I'll also adjust this a bit, make it align. Yeah, and maybe I'll make the values a bit bold. And you could also change your position maybe to bottom center. I think center right was fine for me. Text, maybe I'll increase the size, color, this, and yeah, we're good to go. And for slices also, you could change the colors for every slice. And detail labels, you could either put them outside or inside. I'll prefer outside. And values, I'll make it a little bold. All right, perfect. Okay, so like this we have created a second visual also. And now I think I also need a visual where I can see the name of states, and I can also see the revenue generated by each and every state. So what I'll do here is maybe I'll select a table. Okay, and maybe put it like this, and I'll select the state, and also I would select the revenue generated by each state. Okay, perfect. So we have this sum of revenue and state columns here. And also I would like to, apply some changes to this, make the column headers as bold, increase the size. Yeah, and text color should also, match with everything else. All right, now this is good. You could also, change a lot of things which you want if you go to your visual or your general. One more thing, guys, you could change the column name from this section as well. And I would just like to keep it as revenue. All right. Also for this donut chart, you could either go to this, or you could also basically go to the title here and then edit the title. I think this looks quite nice to me. We will be adjusting this a bit. Also a pro tip here, guys, that For this, I have chosen a table, but you could also choose a map visual, which can be quite interesting to see. So as you can see, I have every each and every state, and if I create a map visual, I get to see which state is generating how much revenue. You could also increase the bubble size here, go to map settings, or go to bubbles in fact, and improve the size. And this is basically on the size of the revenue generated by each state. But for now, I think I'll keep it very simple and use a table only here. So we'll go back and adjust this. Okay, so far I think this looks really good to me. What I would also like to add here is a number of cards. So basically, cards are they give you a basic and very important information where you can show your numbers. So what I'll do here is I'll choose the revenue. So this is the amount of revenue which is generated, and this gives me a very bold information. All right, and what we'll do here is we'll make a few changes here. Put the color as this, and then the category label should be dark blue and maybe a bit bold. And then maybe I'll copy this and paste this a number of times, just like I want three cards to show my information, my data. So for now, I would also like to know what is the amount of units sold, like what is the total unit sold, right? So I'll deselect this, I'll cancel this, and I'll put on sum of units sold. So I'll edit this as total units sold, put the T as capital, total units sold, enter. And for this, I would also like to know what is the average price per unit. So I'll cancel out this and use this. So this is giving me the sum of every price per unit, but I would use the drop down menu here and then select average. All right, so see, we are now getting the average price per unit. And let me just quickly change here to total revenue. All right, so I think by far the visualization part is almost done. All I need is a really good header for my dashboard. So what I'll do is I'll go to the insert tab and I'll insert a shape over here, adjust this a bit, sorry. Yeah, also you could select any shape from here as well, parallelogram, or I think I'll use a pentagon arrow. Yeah, this looks nice to me. What I'll do is then also I'll go to the style and I'll select almost the same color scheme for this as well, and text I'll put it as sales dashboard. Yeah, and mark it as bold, maybe change the color to black and increase the size to 45. Yeah, and make it left aligned. All right, perfect. So now I would also like to apply a filter to this dashboard. So for example, if a user is viewing this report or dashboard, what they could do is possibly they could use some of the filters and select which information do they really require. So for that, I'll be using a slicer. So slicers are basically visuals, basically filters, sorry, which are applied to your visual on your dashboard. All right, now I would like to see beverage brand slicer, so I can choose if I want to see for Coca-Cola or if I want to see for Diet Coke. All right, now slicers can be of multiple variations, for example vertical list, style, or a drop down where you can select from the drop down menu. But for now I'll use it as style. What I'll do is I'll basically move this over here, and yeah, and now maybe I'll do some settings. I don't want the slicer header. I go to the background, and this is okay to me. Maybe I'll change some settings over here. Yeah, so it is blending in with the header right now. Okay, I might adjust this a bit. This looks good to me. So if you can select Coca-Cola, if you want to select Coca-Cola, you can go ahead and do that. If you want to select Sprite, you can go ahead and do that. So this is what our dashboard looks like. I'll save it quickly as beverage dashboard sales. Perfect. Okay guys, so we have already built our dashboard and I think it looks pretty decent to me. Let me know what else you could have done in this particular dashboard and any changes that you want to make, or if I left out on something. So yeah, please stay tuned. I'll be covering more Power BI concepts and data analytics stuff. So yeah, bye bye for now.